Good morning, everyone. I'm your host, Suchi, and welcome to AI Minute Mondays with Suchi. Our topic for today is generative engine optimization, the what, why, and how. We are all familiar with SEO or search engine optimization, which helps brands improve their ranking in a search results page. But in today's world, people are no longer using traditional search engines. They're instead using tools like ChatGPT or Gemini or Claude. And these are the tools that they use to provide answers. This brings about the need for generative engine optimization as a digital strategy that brands cannot ignore. Joining me today to unpack this topic is Apurva Luty, who is the founder and CEO at Optimly. Apurva, so glad to have you join us on the show. For the sake of our viewers, can you share a little bit about your background?
Yeah, thanks for having me, Suchi. So a little bit about me. I've spent over a decade now in tech, guiding brands through some of the biggest platform shifts that have happened in that time. So most recently, I was at Discord, where I helped them figure out how to monetize communities through advertising, namely gaming communities. And then, before that, I was at Meta, where I was part of their AR VR division and helped brands find opportunities to leverage that as a new medium, for content and for reaching customers. And my perspective is really shaped by working at that intersection of data signals, go-to-market mediums, and human behavior. And for me, the past year and a half has just been really incredible to see this latest shift in human behavior of people moving from 10 blue links to using ChatGPT to discover products and services online. And so I realize that this is going to be likely the most significant platform shift we've seen yet. When I asked ChatGPT, what's the best product management tool, I started doing this too. It would recommend 10 brands. And what I would realize is oftentimes there were brands that I didn't expect. And some of the brands I would have expected to see there weren't there. And so just, coming from my background, I just became very curious and eventually obsessed with this problem enough that I started a company to decode it for other marketers.
Thank you, Apurva, for sharing your background, and that's super inspiring. Moving on to our topic, can you explain a little bit about what GEO is and how should organizations think about discoverability in this new world? So, how do you get AI to basically choose your brand or your product in the responses that it gives to users?
Yeah. So that's a great question. If you don't mind, I will reframe this slightly. So, our perspective at Optimally is that GEO, or Generative Engine Optimization, is actually just one tactic in a much bigger problem that brands have to solve, which is managing their reputation within the mental framework or mental model of an LLM. And so we call it AI brand reputation management. Because the real problem is that when buyers ask ChatGPT about your category or the problems that they're trying to solve, AI will recommend, these brands based on what it's learned from the internet because they're generic LLMs. But the problem is that LLMs are often learning from outdated blog posts, Reddit threads, competitor content, and websites, sources that you as a brand, as a marketer, don't often control. And so the result is that you're either invisible, misclassified, or the LLM just gets you wrong. Just like doesn't understand your value proposition at all. And so, the approach we have developed to solve for this is starting first with fixing what LLMs are learning from when it comes to your brand. So this isn't SEO content. It's actually tracing kind of the most authoritative sources that AI actually trusts and producing content for those sources. And then kind of the next step is to help brands build what we call their source truth or like ground truth vault, a structured, verified set of brand facts that brands can use to teach AI LLMs about their product, their brand, their services. And then the third piece is just continuous monitoring. So these AI models, as you and your audience well know, they're updated constantly. And so what might be working today with GPT 5.2 might not work with the next model update, and what works for ChatGPT may not work for Gemini. So that monitoring piece is also very, very important.
Thank you, Apurva. That sounds exciting and something that all brands and businesses should be aware of in this AI era. But let's talk a little bit about the cons, though. What are the risks that might arise if GEO is encouraging creators to optimize content only for AI models and not for human readers? And how do we avoid these type of fallouts?
Yeah, so this is such a critical question. And I do think it reveals potentially a fundamental misunderstanding in how we think about this space. The biggest risk is creating content to your point that is technically optimized for AI crawlers, but is useless for humans. And, there is a term for this now, AI slop. But the more interesting thing is that ironically, AI models are being fine-tuned to avoid it. So if you optimize only for machines and you're just generating AI content that you think LLMs will pick up on, you're actually losing on both fronts. The AI will ignore you and humans won't trust you because the content isn't very good. And so what we encourage our customers to do is not to just generate content for the sake of generating content, but rather thinking through how they can improve and amplify what already exists to give the LLMs better signal, better data about what it is that they do.
Thank you. That definitely makes a lot of sense. To summarize, what you are essentially saying is the search bar is now obsolete, and people are more looking at an answer engine rather than a search bar. And all of these brands need to stop worrying about page ranks, and they instead need to start thinking about how to structure their digital content so that it is picked up by these AI tools, and not just picked up by AI tools, but is human readable as well. So thank you for sharing this information. Absolutely great to have you on the show. And that's all that we have in this week's AI Minutes. Thank you. Bye.
It's great chatting. Thanks.